All right, welcome to Raising Funds for World Domination, Day 110. Orthoplex 64, how's it going? All right, so once again, no updates on the renovation thing, just kind of coasting until the next hearing. Things have been pretty quiet lately on that front. And once again, the current goal that I'm working towards on the streams is the next release of the terminal block mining simulation game. So these are actually kind of some pretty boring updates, but they're mainly around correctness and efficiency, so they're kind of important to have done sooner rather than later. Today I worked on next video, worked on some graphics and thinking about brainstorming how to present some information. And last night I continued work on adding a utility function to expand changed regions so that when I'm merging together layers of multi-column characters, it does not chop up the characters, which will produce inconsistent results. And I think that's finished. So tonight I'll probably start work on actually trying to add that, and we'll see if it reveals any additional bugs. Yeah. Hank Raymond says, Waymond. ... You're leaving me in suspense now. All right, game works. Let's see if the tests work. Tests work. For the circular buffer backing for screen area, you already made the multi-dimensional circular buffer. So is that buffer just making use of it? Yeah, it should be just to make use of it. I think I may have to change the implementation a little bit, because there's a couple. I can't just swap it in right away. There's so it works on three-dimensional array of an object. But for the so I have to think about the best way to do it. I think I haven't done a lot of testing to see like what's the absolute maximum efficiency thing, but I think for the screen layer, what it currently has is it has a 2D array, but really a 2D array is a 3D array, so it's just going to be for the special case for this. It's just going to be an array where the third dimension is simply one all the time, and then the translation through the region is just going to be telling it to move to this coordinate system, and then the class will figure it out. Now a couple of these. This one I think is fine because integer array is an object, I think, but the character widths are primitive. So I may have to do this, and I haven't tried that change yet, and that may, changing that from primitive to that might introduce some bugs. I'll just have to test this. And then I think probably each of these, so I'll probably have 3 of the circular buffers on here, and then just update them all in turn. I guess maybe I'll actually have to have, well, I don't know. I guess I could have a class object that wraps around these, but I don't know if it's maybe more efficient to just have them individually. Maybe it's, and then I'll probably, yeah, like, so, that's weird. My, interesting. It looks like it cut out for a second, but it only cut out my feed from, so it looks like that probably cut out on the stream. Maybe something is not plugged in all the way. That happens sometimes when looks like it's still working, but if that becomes a problem, I'll have to look into it. Probably a loose cable or something. Foxstar9 says, "What are you doing here?" I'm currently working on. Well, I think I just finished some unit tests for screen layer merging in my terminal-based video game. And I'm going to be working on moving those into the screen layer class and then trying to actually use them. Looks intense. After you get some practice, it's easier. Yeah, I think the other thing I was going to say was the members for like the active states and stuff are. I actually just have them declared public because I was kind of lazy. Yeah, they're all just declared public. And I guess what I should probably do is like these get accessed really frequently in loops, so I'm not sure if it'll affect performance if instead of just like directly accessing dot active, if I do get active. Presumably it should be, like the compiler should be smart enough to figure out how to make that not slow, but if I first change these to be all private and then make the necessary updates so that these are never accessed directly, then that would maybe be the first step to like swapping these out. I guess if I just left it as is, I'd have to have 5 of those circular buffers and then just make sure, just update them all to the same region. SLP dealer says hi. How's it going? How do I make a CPU? Well, first you have to get a rock, then you have to smash the rock, then you get 99% concentrated silicon dioxide. And there's a bunch more steps, so I made a video on it, so I don't have to repeat myself so much. Using Java? Yes, this is Java. Because YT is making AI do age verification, I might be gone. Yeah, that's interesting. What are they asking for? Are they asking for people's ID or like pictures or something? A selfie? That seems like it would be so easy to fake that. I guess if you're old enough to fake it, I mean, what probably happens in a lot of cases is people just go on their parents' computer and use that, and the parents don't care. So they'll just age verify the parent. Under 18, don't think you'll make it. That's too bad. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of don't really see our way around it from my position. Like I remember being a kid and being annoyed at how everyone, adults don't respect you and are always telling you what to do. But also, I guess honestly, it wasn't even until like I got so embedded in social media that social media it is becoming more hostile. Like we have a world war basically going on right now, and like a lot of the nonsense and spam and disinformation, and the internet is like a battlefield for minds. I don't even mean that in like a poetic sense. I mean like there are actual like disinformation, like state-funded disinformation campaigns on the internet and bots and stuff, like sophisticated bots. YouTube isn't supposed to be the parent. It's also, I don't even, like if I was behind, controlling this stuff now, I do think the internet sucks and I love it. Yeah, it's the mixture of like a battlefield. It's a mixture of like a battlefield, but also like a incredible playground, and there's like every cool thing that you could want to see on there. I actually think one of the biggest threats is just like being overwhelmed with hyper intelligent bots that can successfully masquerade as real humans, to the point where like there's 10 bots for every one human, and people's opinions, like the concept of rigging elections would become obsolete, because you could so successfully target and manipulate individuals with like targeted propaganda, and you could like target a specific teenager by like posting mean comments on their Instagram or something, and like when you have the resources of a nation state, using that to to bully teenagers on Instagram into having a certain political position, or like not wanting to leave NATO or something like that, they don't stand a chance. Also worried about hackers. Someone uploads their ID. Yeah, I would almost trust, like if I was trust anyone, I'd trust maybe Google or something to not get hacked that way. But like those random stupid like dating websites and stuff, like well, even Microsoft, I think they got compromised by Russia was able to like get access to the CEO's emails and stuff. I think what you're describing is actually going to destroy the internet as we know it. Yeah, it's I think we had we had a good run, but unless we like somehow walk it back from World War III. But if we actually do go into World War III, like if things continue to escalate, I think the online bot problem is just going to get worse, because like when you think about Russia or China trying to fight, if they're trying to like intercept a missile, how many millions of dollars they spend to intercept a missile. But it might actually be cheaper to spend like $100,000 on bots to convince foreign civilians that they shouldn't like defund the war or something like that, and then they don't even have to shoot down the missiles because the missiles aren't there. And you can use ChatGPT now to do that. So like you don't even need a big budget. You could just have like a random person. You could just pay a random person $5. Say like, just make these arguments, and then just copy and paste arguments from ChatGPT. That YT gets so much hate that it will undo the stupid update. Yeah, it does suck. I know there's a lot of like people say teenagers should quit social media and stuff like that, but one problem is social media, like kids need access to information in social circles. So the problem is if you force all kids to quit social media, where do they go? I don't think they're going to go back outside. I think it's basically just going to make young people even more socially isolated and lonely than they were before. We almost need like an internet number two. We need like an internet that is specifically for young people with like totally different protocols and browsers and apps. We'll call it like IPv7, and it'll be totally incompatible with the old internet. My sci-fi future, the internet is overrun and people divide to ideally based networks which require human verification. That might happen in reality. They can make you provide a credit card. I think you can get a credit card at 16. I think I got my credit card early on. Ideologically, yeah. Game Dev Chad says hi. How's it going? Superbly amazing. Excellent. I hope you made $1 billion in the stock market. I was doing some research on like different sector yields and stuff recently. In the last couple of days, I searched for like what is the S&P 500 done over the last 20 years, and I was looking at the graph of it, and I was like, wow, it's a fabulous like exponential. And I was remarking like it looks like we're really overdue for a crash. I don't know, I think there's I have a feeling there's going to be some like random geopolitical event that's going to happen probably in the next like 4 months or so. AI stocks 26% year to date. Nice. By far highest performing. Yeah, it's not just this year. Like after the pandemic, things surged down, but then we printed so much money, it deflated the currency. I mean, one thing that could happen is we could see like things continue to go up, or maybe go sideways for a few years. Even in the event of a crash, if we simultaneously see like rapid devaluation of the currency, which will also cause lots of inflation. a lot of the market will go up from higher earnings per share from AI so much that it will diverge from the rest of the economy more rapidly. My non-financial advice prediction. Interesting. Are you saying like speculative AI stocks, or do you mean like real economic productivity gains from like the subset of companies that actually use AI? As in, like, AI is making certain companies so much more productive that they exist with a higher exponent. We're seeing it already. It should be the worst month for stocks. We hit all-time highs again today. Pushed through on very little volatility. It could be, but you're always going to have your guard up, though. When you least expect it, that's when the wealth transfer. That have you seen that? What is it? The Bodge twins meme. As soon as you put all your money in, someone will issue a call, and they'll be like, "He bought," and then it'll go down. Companies that use AI and have more productivity and fewer people. It could. I think if you act on that investment thesis, which there probably is some kernel of true inefficiency to that. I think you have to you would have to identify. You'd have to maybe separate them out into two separate categories. So there's one area where a lot of people are saying AI is going to make this thing more like efficient and productive, but there's a lot of things where it does make it more. It only makes it more only makes it more productive when you're the only one doing it. And one example of that is in like marketing. Like I've seen a lot of people say like, "Oh wow, this is great. We can use AI to make like custom, outreach emails and stuff like that, and like custom content marketing and stuff." I think anything to do with marketing, the competitive edge is going to be very quickly eroded, and it's basically going to be competed to zero, like almost immediately. And then there's other areas, like for example, in using AI to like optimize the design of a part or something where like the AI immediately translates to a real physical advantage in physically producing something. Because like if you the best way to explain it would be like if you look at what we're doing today versus the methods we have today versus the methods we had like 1,000 years ago. If you hired like someone to do marketing 1,000 years ago, they're still in a competitive marketplace. I would say a marketer, someone who does marketing for like, sales leads for your blacksmith company or whatever, they're going to be like just as productive 1,000 years ago as they would today. But the blacksmith himself is like physically able to produce, 100,000 times more output. Whereas the marketer that sets up the consulting contracts, that sets up the production contracts for the blacksmith is no, even though they have email and stuff like that, they're not really the competitive advantage is zero. When volatility index is this low, is everyone on guard? A good example is Salesforce, which is dumping, even though they are really championing AI. AI is simultaneously eating their business. Yeah, actually, I mean, I guess if you wanted to if you wanted to invest on that thesis, that might be one strategy. This is not investment advice. Is identify a basket of stocks that are like the blacksmith in my example, and go long those, and then go short a bunch of AI companies that are touting AI, where the AI advantage is going to be competed away. Because I see a ton of people proclaiming like, oh wow, this is going to make my marketing so much better, and I get tons of emails, like business emails about they're written to be like super specific to me and my business. Or I've even seen a couple that it almost looks like there was an AI that like took the script from my video and was like, hey, I really like that thing you talked about in your video. Yeah, here's some services. When's the last time you had a crush on someone? That's a random question. That's not about AI and stocks and terminal block mining games. Is this a trading bot? No, this is a terminal-based video game. Yeah, I think a hedging strategy like that is probably good. I don't know how you position yourself, but it makes sense to think about some kind of some strategy to hedge. So if the market does crash somehow, then you won't get totally wiped out. There'll be something that'll go up in your basket of positions. Right, this will test my new region expanding function in action. So I think there are currently no cases where this will trigger, but we'll see in a second. What's this game for? It's for fun. I speculated on chip stocks, and then shifted into energy, nuclear, uranium, and small cap that innovate in AI, automation, robotics, autonomous delivery. Aeronautics and eVTOL. I think robotics, or maybe even like not specifically robotics, but I actually think there's a ton. I mean, it'll take a long time to act on it, but I think there's a ton of innovation that can be done by like if you took like companies that produce motor drivers and the control systems for like actually driving, like manufacturing and stuff like that. I think in the future they will likely embed like sensing and data collection into them, and then like just having a ton of information about what's in, like if there's vibration or something in when you're manufacturing your parts and stuff. All that kind of stuff can cause like defects and influence production rate and MDE explains x86. The cult of personality has nothing to do with the Vanguard party. Have you ever heard of the Lynx browser on terminal? Yes, I have used it on a couple of occasions. Is that border system in the terminal? Like you do border and then content region and total width of container equals content plus border. It's designed. It has like frames in it. Actually, there's some bugs in it at the moment, which is why it changed color. So I can open a new frame. So here's the help menu, and then I use tab to go between the frames. Oh wow, look at that. Interesting. So my case does trigger. Anyway, that's I'm just testing an interesting case here. All that stuff benefits from AI, even though I'm very anti-hype. The benefits are not even starting to be used at scale. Yeah, I think it's going to take a long time for it to really like soak in. Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of ironic. The first things that are going to use AI are stuff like marketing, and they're going to be the sector of things where the gains will be competed away quickly. But the ones where, like I said, where it's going to have like measurable production, physical production output increase is going to be stuff like mining and whatnot, and all that. Like for that, you need to like physically build the sensor system and stuff. Like right now, if you want to write a better marketing email, you just open up ChatGPT and say, make this marketing email, like right now. But if you want to use ChatGPT to augment your mining system, you have to physically go out in the field and collect data and do all kinds of stuff. Similar to that thing I forgot. what they call it when we update the Linux terminal, Linux kernel into Ubuntu. Yeah, maybe graphically, but the implementation is quite different. That's my thesis generally. Today a lot of buying was happening, aligned with my strategy. So it was a record investment day. Closing some large option plays. Excellent. Bank, grab that money. Get prepared for the crash. Why choose Java for that, and why not C or even C++? I've written a lot of C and C++, or mostly C, and if I wrote it in C, I have to do like mallocs everywhere, manage memory, manage data structures. I have to run it through valgrind, and I've done enough of that to know that I do not. It just doesn't make sense. There's no. I want something to be memory managed with like strong data structures built in. What might I have stumbled upon? This is terminal. This is a video game development of a terminal-based video game. So I'll boot it up and give a brief demo. It might crash though because I'm testing some stuff. Robert, the Discord link description is dead. Actually, it's not. It's broken on purpose. The last character is a Z character. And if you delete the Z, you can get into the Discord. So as long as you're not a bot that'll join automatically, you can get in. Yeah, so this is the game. You wander around an infinite procedurally generated universe. You spam the M key to mine blocks. Why not rapid prototyping language like Python? I'd say it's beyond a prototype. Yeah, there's just more and more features and efficiency and stuff that I want to add to it. So I'm in the phase of actual development. I do think Python is good for small scale prototyping, but if it's like less than 1,000 lines, I think there's like 16,000 lines or something in this now. Now, interestingly, this did have a case. Where it complained about, oh, you know what it might have been? Very interesting. Where can I follow developments besides YouTube? There's a GitHub repo in the link in the description. Other than that, basically just YouTube is pretty much. I guess I should probably post a bit more to like Twitter or something, but I think I'm shadow banned on Twitter, so I don't really post there too much. I should make an effort to do that more. I have been putting out some videos with some updates on major developments, but they're kind of few and far between. It takes a lot of time to get new features out. And for the last I guess 110 days or so, I've been working on doing really major improvements to the user interface to just make it faster and make the UI faster and fix bugs and add stuff like the framing feature and whatnot. Should put something in the description about the game. I'm new and don't know what this is. There's if there's in the description there's a link to the GitHub, and the GitHub has I'll probably just keep the description in the GitHub link or in the GitHub repo. Right, that is good. That is not crashing. Because it means it's not expanding any of the regions in the test case so far. That's a lot of tests. It's also many of them are also dumb. Like, you want tests to cover all the different areas in the like input space, all different like areas in the input space partition. So, for example, there's a couple that are flashing with so like that one there. That's a layer that's inactive. And so if like when I started out originally, I think each one had a 50% probability of having an inactive layer. But if half the layers are always inactive, that's kind of not really good coverage. So I had to like change the balance on it. But there's kind of like there's a ton of cases that I think are in order to get the actual problem cases, I just run it for quite a while. Like for these layers, this layer here is has a width of 0, so it basically just doesn't do anything. Whereas one that's actually like wide and has like a bunch of complex change regions in it, that one is actually going to test a lot more, get more coverage of the actual like overlapping regions. And what if there's two characters that are identical at the same position? So that's like a 1 in 26 chance that's going to happen. So I need to combine the product of that with all the other probabilities of if it's inactive, active, and And let's see what happens when I let those go through. That might be a bug in my model. Interesting, so they're stuck in the layer above. Okay, I know why that happens. I think it's because when I move around with the arrow keys, it specifically writes the character at the new position that it is, and then it clears it from where it was. But when I resize the window, it must not be doing. It's like forgetting the old position and not clearing it. And now, because it's in a separate layer, it gets stuck there unless I move the character to that point. That bug with the background disappearing, that's another bug I'm gonna have to investigate. Oh, I'm not getting question marks. That's a bug. Wait until I finish this merging thing, just in case that's actually a bug in the merging. The complexity you deal with, yep. It's hard work making terminal-based video games, but somebody's got to do it. Yeah, it's hard to make it it's hard to make it work and also make it fast, because I already have a version of this out there that's like, it's pretty good, but you know, it's been like 2 months that I've been working on it, just like optimizations and refactoring. All right, so that change region expansion thing, that was one of the most annoying corner case. That was, it's one of those features where I'm like, should I totally abandon this idea? It was like on the edge of that, but I got through it. And so we'll forge on. I think the rest, of the things, I have a good vision of how to actually make them work. Let's see. So it's been a few days since I worked on this, so I forget what I was doing here. I've decided to attempt to compete in the lucrative terminal block mining marketplace. I'm having AI vibe code a direct competitor to your game. We'll say who will dominate the world. That's an interesting idea. I look forward to fierce competition with you. It is indeed a very lucrative market. So Robert, I'm about to start college on an accelerated bachelor to master's degree in IT. What are some tips on college? I guess there's many things you could many things you could focus on, like the studying habits versus I mean, the ultimate outcome is you want to be able to get jobs and pay off that expensive tuition and housing. I think you mentioned before it was like an online thing. But if I got that wrong, if there is like some kind of like in-person component, then you can also just take advantage of whatever kind of networking opportunities. If there's people that, if it's like group projects and stuff like that, just like if there's any kind of opportunity, like if as a result of doing this, if you get some connections to industry, or like even if they're just online, I think that's maybe I don't know if there's any kind of events that go along with it, because knowing the knowledge is one thing, but eventually, like let's say you graduate tomorrow, next thing is you got to be you got to have leads for handing out resumes and stuff like that. So I'd say like you could just adopt the mentality that like the job search process starts today, and you can start thinking about like as a result of what you're doing and who you interact with, even if it's through like online chats and stuff. If you can like are there any kind of like group projects with people, or like any online social networking? Yeah, if you meet anyone, I don't know if there's like Discord groups or whatever for the thing. If you can meet anyone through that, like invite them on LinkedIn, and then start expanding your network that way. Because I think a lot of the they say it's not what you know, it's who you know. But I think it's more, that almost implies it's about like, as soon as you have a connection, you just automatically get a job. But I think it's more that people prefer a known evil to an unknown evil. Like if you just, like if you're a really, really bad engineer and you have a large family of very rich people who are like super influential, and you're just like that kind of, the most nerdy, you're like bottom 10% of the class in a standard university, but you're like the most nerdy person in a group of like socialites that all play, football or soccer or something and do that kind of stuff. That group of people always pick, that teenager who knows HTML over someone who's like an engineer with 40 years experience. And then in their minds they'll be like, oh, these arrogant engineers, my son figured it out in 2 minutes. So it's just this kind of natural bias to things that are familiar. That's an extreme example, but the more people you get you just come into contact with eventually, and I think it's getting more extreme now because, like perfect example is recently a bunch of companies got sanctioned because they accidentally hired North Koreans to work remote. So think about like you're already on high alert thinking you're going to get scammed, or you're like, I don't know if we should hire this person remote. What if they're like working 2 jobs, or they're lying to us, or they steal the code or something. Now you have to, as a hiring manager, you be like, you better not accidentally hire a North Korean slave that's funneling money to North Korea or something. Worked for my college doing IT while going into college, although it was before they even called it IT. It was nice because I learned internet working from the job. Wasn't focused on getting a degree, never graduated. Started a business instead. College was a first client. Nice. Interesting. That's a unique career trajectory. Maybe you could build IT skill, work in college for IT at the same time. Yeah, I mean that is a possibility. That's as he mentioned. That's it worked for him. And then I actually had one of my students, one of my better students. He also ended up working. I think his first job was actually working for the college, doing IT stuff. Because I remember I was teaching another course and I had to go to IT for some email issues, and he was there doing stuff. So yeah, that's well, I guess if it's online, I don't know if they might have reduced opportunities for that. But I mean, you can try everything. I've heard people say do you think I should apply to this job? Do you think I should just don't? If you even think maybe you should apply to it, just apply to it and let them reject you or ghost you, which I missed the part was online. Oh, okay. There you go. There's one example of where it works. Just going off part of the verbal conversation. Yeah, there's many paths to success, whatever kind of in you can get. Edith Goat says, "Yo, how's it going?" Another day, another feature made for my Lua C interpreter. Work. Excellent. I also implemented some new features, although they're not very impressive. I think I finally got through adding support for expanding screen changed regions when there's an overlap that cuts off multi-column characters, which is necessary for finishing this refactoring arc. My features aren't impressive either. Well, if you have thousands of features, then eventually they will add up and become impressive. So it's running in the background, reading in serial data. Memory pools to prevent starving the main process of RAM. Now onto the Maui.NET mobile app to connect to the BLE device I wrote the Linux driver for. That's impressive. Writing a Bluetooth low energy device driver. Whenever I try to use Bluetooth, it always doesn't work. If I recall, it's like a notoriously difficult thing to write for. Where do you go for financial advice? I don't know. I don't think financial advice is pretty important. For the most part, I'd say it's probably a good bet to not trust random financial advice from people on the internet, unless you filter it through your own mind and if it makes sense to you. BLE has so many acronyms made from other acronyms. Oh, doesn't it? I didn't know that. Like acronyms for describing things in the protocol. Let's see what this will do. All right. Interesting. Stockbroker always wanted me to sign up for investment advisor programs. I don't think professional financial advisors are that great either. I actually think that most of them are actually like basically salespeople in disguise. Like, think about it. Why would you get a job? Why would you wake up to talk to people and just give them actionable financial advice that you could trade on? Like, if they're part of some firm, they have money and stuff, why are they not investing that money based on that decision to make profit instead of paying someone to give away their information. I would imagine it's like it's probably not like super predatory. It's probably like, oh, what kind of risk profile do you have? And like, oh, you want to, it's good to diversify. You can have some low risk investments. Like, how about you buy into this mutual fund? It's a mutual fund. It has a guaranteed return of 2%, and it has a 3% management fee. And yeah, just buy that, and then it'll underperform. It'll do 1% return. And then we'll increase the management fee to 4%. And that's it. And then they sell it to you, and they make money, and the cycle repeats. Mortgage-backed securities. I hear those are amazing. Yeah, there's tons of great investments these days. You can buy some repackaged, some subprime mortgages repackaged a few times over. I'm investing in useless web applications. That's a good idea. They've been on a bull market for the last 10 years. I'm sure they'll keep going for another 10. Payouts of real estate investment are 13 to 20%. Too slow? Yeah, but if you want to go faster, you need more risk. Raising funds for world domination. You mean you would control the world and be a dictator? That's better than dealing with try-catch every 10 lines. That's true. So that's not correct. I don't think it should be this. You look Slavic. I can't believe you're of English heritage. Have I said that I'm of English heritage? I'm pretty sure I am. I've got some Irish in me, and I don't know, some other European. I don't know, the my face is not too big on the thing. I don't know if it has enough pixels. Well, I guess you can look at my other videos to see what I look like in the light. I don't know, I guess maybe with when my hair is shaved, I probably look more Slavic. Actually, I think I've seen some people comment that when they saw my video, they expected me to be like extremely British or like Australian. I don't recall seeing any exception handling on the screen. Yeah, he said better dealing with try catch every 10 lines. The way it was written, it almost sounded like it was to make fun of my code, but I don't even have that many try catches. In this class, I don't have any try. Yeah, this is a 2,000 line file, and I only have 2 try catches. So that's in this one. It sounds like it's meant to be a dig, but it doesn't apply. What about screen layer class? Nope, no catches at all in this 900 line file. Mostly I just let the exceptions bubble so I can handle them and deal with them. All right, let's figure out why this is not doing what it's supposed to. Okay. It doesn't work when there is a zero-sized region. See you when I see. See you when I see. You have a good time. I'm not sure I understand that statement. When I see you, have a good time. Oh, so, like, see you later. And have a good time. Maybe that's what you mean. Interesting. I'm back, the annoying guy from yesterday. Do you have any advice for dealing with anxiety? Especially during college. I don't consider you annoying, given the range of annoying behavior that you experience from random commenters on the internet. Your chats rank pretty low on the annoying scale. Dealing with anxiety. I guess there's lots of stuff I could say. I guess one thing if I can be critical, I would say you may have low self-confidence because you assumed that you were annoying when, in my opinion, I don't think you were annoying. One piece of advice I could give you is to improve your life outcome is you'll be surprised at how easily other people will just like immediately believe your assessments of things. Like some people will, 20% of people will challenge your assertions that you make, but a lot of people just like, without question, even if they first met you, they will just accept your own assessment of whether something is good or bad. And if your self-assessment is negative, like if you don't see yourself positively, like there are some people who would latch onto that and be like, oh yeah, you are really annoying. I don't like you. Or they'd like pick up on that and then, try to get a rise out of you or dig into it and stuff. I guess I realized that when I have a pretty sarcastic sense of humor. From my, you may have seen from some of my videos. And I remember I was in, I had a job working in a bulk food store back when I was like 19, and one of the things we had to do at nighttime was go around with this like thing to clean, and I had to like go behind him with the mop because there was like a trail of dirt that was on the side. So I just follow him around with and mop this thing up. And I remember after this is the first time I had been working with him, and after it was done, I was like, wow, that sure was really hard. And I was being sarcastic, but I noticed when I said that he just believed what I said. Like he thought I was serious, and then he went on this kind of long arc about. I was like, oh yeah, that actually was pretty hard. And then he like tried to agree and like amplify and justify what I was saying and get on board with it. And that was when I realized, like, if you're you can just as easily be like sarcastically positive versus sarcastically negative. But if you're sarcastically positive, then like if people accidentally take you seriously, then it comes across positively rather than like negatively. That's not specifically about anxiety, but that's a kind of general piece of life advice, which I guess could result in the way people will treat you will determine your anxiety level. I guess the other thing would be regular exercise. That's one thing. That's one of those pieces of advice that's kind of useless. If you ask someone for advice and they say like, oh, just eat right, eat healthy, and exercise, you're like, thanks for nothing. I could just find that on Google. But I would say the exercise part is actually pretty important. Done researching. Made a video about the drama. I'm not sure what you're referring to by drama. Also, remember most confidence is unearned. I was thinking about whether I would agree or disagree with that. I think there's depends what you mean by most. I think there's definitely individuals that have a lot of unearned confidence. Using Clippy to show that he never looked at your documents. Never looked at your letter and stuff. I've heard of the Clippy meme. I don't know what you're talking about. To show that he never looked at your document. Who to show that who never looked at what documents. Five 6 360 says, hi Robert and chat. How's it going? It's about the YT thing. Okay, I don't totally follow what you're. I know about the Louis Rossman's video about Clippy, but beyond that, I don't know what you're talking about. YouTube. Nye. Oh, might use for the age verification thing. Okay. Clippy things a sign of protest. Started by Louis Rossman. Yeah, I know. I watched a bunch of his board repair videos back in the day. I don't watch his rants as much. But I did see. I watched like, I don't know, half of his video, but the Clippy movement. I think it's an interesting idea. I don't. I probably won't change my profile to it, but I'm tangentially aware of the movement. Nice. Congrats on 110 days. Fun and unrelated fact. 110 is the number for the police in Japan. Interesting. Thank you very much for the $10. 256360. Interesting. Do you live in Japan? There's actually there's kind of a surprising number of people who are a surprising number of people who are interested in my content who are in Japan. Actually, I think the my how to make a CPU video, I've mentioned before how I posted that and it didn't go viral for like 2 years, but it did it didn't go like mega viral in North America for a couple of years, but it went mega viral, it went fairly viral in Japan. That was like a big part of those initial views were actually from a whole bunch of like random forums in Japan and stuff. They were really into it. $109 for ambulance. That's 911 backwards. Interesting. 7119 for those who aren't sure. Interesting. Does if you call the emergency number, do you get on hold in Japan now? Because here it's becoming standard that you call 911 and they'll put you on hold. I called 911 when we had the apartment fire here, and they put me on. They like triaged me quickly and then put me on hold. Make a SAS and charge $1 million. Okay, I'll do that tomorrow. Don't think so. They put you on hold. Yeah, that's I hadn't really heard of that until the last few years, but I guess that's, I don't know, the latest. I'm not sure if that's always been a thing that, you know, call volumes are so high on 911 that you get on hold, but that's the way the world is now. I'm trying to figure out how to trigger that failing test case. Let's make it one layer. So it's got something to do with having two layers. How will you dominate the world? That's a good question. I have a video where I explain the process in detail. If you check out my channel, I have a video called "My Plans for World Domination," and it's I think like 3 videos ago. It's a picture. The thumbnail's me standing in a river. All right, so this is the case. I'll check it out. Please take down Meta and Google. One step at a time. Can't get too carried away. All in good time. It's interesting. Did not expect this behavior. The update is now in action. I hope no one gets hacked from this update. Oh, you mean the age verification thing? I would hope that Google would have better security than that T-app thing that just leaks everyone's data. That's interesting. No one is safe from hackers. Not even multi-trillion-dollar companies. That's true. I mean, it is, even like the government is having a hard time. Like the government doesn't have the capability to keep stuff secure. I mean, it's actually it's quite concerning. Like we have an increasingly authoritative and oppressive government that doesn't let you do things, but also the government is increasingly less capable of protecting its citizens against foreign adversaries. So like if the government will come along and just be like, you have to upload your ID. If you don't give us this data, you'll go to jail. And then you're like, okay, government, here you go. And then they're like, oh, we got hacked. We lost all the data. Oops. Now all the foreign threat actors have your data. and then they'll get sued in a class action lawsuit, and everyone will get a payout of $3 for your inconvenience. People love trash. They love these platforms. Out of fear. Like Meta and Google and stuff. I mean, they are interesting, but there's really not much for alternatives. They want things this way. They beg for safety and just don't want to lose access. I think there's also we don't have alternatives because like Google and Facebook, and they've basically won in their own respective domains, and now they have enough money to do anti-competitive actions. They will always get worse. I don't know. I think I have a feeling things are changing in the world. We may go through a phase where I don't know, some of these companies get failed or get replaced with something else. People are saying it's going to be a huge change in social media. Probably will. I mean, I think the biggest thing is if global conflicts escalate, then that's going to change the internet, like probably permanently, like, because basically the internet is it's a completely new battlefield. We've never had a major war where the internet was used as a primary battlefield. And if you just have like one random person or even like a company that goes rogue and starts writing like malware or something, the police can shut that down. YouTube can detect bots and stuff YouTube can defend itself against individual civilians, but if a nation state decides to attack like Facebook or some critical infrastructure platform, and especially with like the plausible deniability of AI, I think the like civilians who use the internet are going to get crushed in the wake of a nation state, internation state warfare. There are viewers who want things better, and it doesn't matter if we're vocal. There are too many people that will love it. Yeah, I mean, if they ask me for my data, I don't have any choice. I have to give it to them. Do you really want to give the same company that is money hungry and might give it to the dark web? I don't think Google will give it to the dark web, but they might give it to the government, and then the government might get hacked. I would expect a company like Google to be competent enough to be able to like store probably that kind of data. I don't think the government has the capabilities to securely store that information. Like, especially like something like the Canadian government, like in just running my business, trying to log into stuff and seeing all kinds of weird issues where I'll log in and then it's like, here, you need to set up your, you need to send your two-factor authentication code. This thing is changed, redirect here. And then I click on it and then it goes to like internal server error. And then I just refresh the page and it lets me skip two-factor authentication. Shut down Google Nest project. An awesome smoke detector. Shut down because it didn't make enough money. RIP Google Plus, yeah. Maybe that's due to the presence of null characters. All right, so a single null character will cause the problem. Hit 100 subs. Don't want to lose everything. Are they actually, what is the behavior for your underage? Does it like lock you out of your account or something? James 3D Prince says hi. How's it going? Run a campaign and convince enough people to black out. You could do something or start creating competitor platforms. I think it's probably I think that's a decent number of young people who are probably already up in arms and making a lot of noise about it. I think ultimately, like, kids are smart. Honestly, I kind of something kind of surprises me is, like, I think adults routinely underestimate kids, which is kind of strange because adults were children at one point, and they don't realize that kids will just like figure out some way to get around the system. Behavior is maybe terminating the account or suspending it. Oh, okay. That's yeah, that's serious, I guess. Yeah, it's kind of annoying, I guess. I could almost see if they're like, okay, you need to get your parents to approve it or something. Like if they'd give an opportunity to associate the account with an adult to rescue it. You get bedtime reminders. Built a basic self-streaming backend that works with OBS. Yeah, I was looking into stuff like similar to that for if I need to. Well, it's been on the to-do list for a while to improve this streaming UI. It's not I need a better interface. Are you on Linux? What operating system are you on? I'm just use Ubuntu. Nice thing is you can just stream to viewers and play whatever music come on in the background. Do shutdown +0? No, I'm working. What is the +0? Does that mean shut down immediately or something? I don't want to shut down. I want to work. Yes? No? Or refuse? 0 seconds to shut down? Yeah, why would I do that? Okay, it's when there's 2 layers. Use Unity. Does it support terminal games? When it makes one, okay, you would have to share it with Unity. Yeah, I don't think Unity has support for the advanced environment of the terminal. Should totally use the platform. I decided to charge a fee per game install. Yeah, I mean, with this system, I should maybe even I should license my own system. So you have to pay a fee when you use my highly advanced terminal framing system. How do you have so much subscribers? I made a bunch of videos. Post content every day and still. You gotta make content that's super watchable. I think game programming is one of the things that really improves you as a programmer. So much logic involved. Yeah, definitely. To make it optimized, you definitely have to think a lot and push the limits of your device. Thanks for the tip. Yeah, I'm not sure what. As for getting more subscribers, I think subscribers actually is not really a great metric to go on. There's some channels I come across every once in a while where I'm like, they'll have like 500,000 subscribers, and I'll look at their content. I'll be like, wow, that's a lot of subscribers. I never heard of this. And then I look at their content, and they're getting like 1,000 views per video. I'm like, this is weird. I don't know what's going on here. You know, like you're not gonna make any money or have any influence. Like whatever you're trying to accomplish, subscribers doesn't matter. But like the views are more important. Use bright colors in thumbnail. That's one aspect. I think other deeper metrics like retention time, some of my videos, like my how to make a CPU video, that was a lot of work, and I had to source extremely rare and hard to get parts, like photolithographic quartz masks. Do you have a favorite block mining game? This one for sure. Editing tips. It depends what you're editing. I think you can also make a statement about, like, technically any content you produce, there is an audience for it, but it's about as much of making content that appeals to a large audience as it is about making content that appeals to that audience. So you could have content that, like, most people hate, but are very specific. Like, you can have editing with, like, super obnoxious, like, you could have meme inserts every 5 seconds where it's like super ADHD, like explosion sounds all the time, and, you know, all kinds of TikTok references and stuff, and that would appeal very well to a young audience, but it would drive away an older audience. So you do very well with that subset, but it wouldn't probably not get as broad a reach. So that's one thing you have to think about per video, is like, you know, if you imagine it going viral, what is the maximum addressable audience that it could serve? SLP DR. You're kind of spamming the chat. If you could not post so many one-word things to the chat. Subscribers used to be king. Now it's whatever the algorithm makes king. Yeah, I mean, it also, ultimately, you're probably doing it to, like, produce revenue and, like, you know, market a thing. So I think it makes sense to think about your secondary objective. So let's say you have 1 million subscribers. Then what do you hope to accomplish? Do you hope to get sales from it, or do you hope to get money or something? You can focus a bit more about that earlier on, about, like, how do you actually drive the numbers. And I think you said you're posting daily. I don't post daily. I've been doing live streaming daily, because it requires zero effort and preparation. But it might make sense to not post daily. So, like, take a bit more time on the editing, and just I haven't looked at your videos at all, but I have to look at it more to give some feedback. But yeah, I guess if you're interested in 3D parts, you can go ahead and check out James's channel, or even don't subscribe. But instead of subscribing, go to his channel and watch at least one of his videos the whole way through, because that'll probably, and then return to his channel in 24 hours and then watch another video. That'll probably help better to the algorithm than subscribing, because if someone sees the channel and then they subscribe and then they never click on his video again, then YouTube will assume that the content is not good. So it's about, like, just focus on making good videos to get to train the algorithm in a very deep way that people really do want to come back to your stuff. I rush to edit. Is that good? I don't know. I don't know what the output is. Do you like tutorial videos, or? Editing is incredibly time consuming. Some people are good at editing fast, or not editing at all, just pumping out content. Try to pump out videos every day. I guess if you're doing that and you're not growing, that's probably not ideal. Then you could maybe I think it's generally better to have like one really good video that gets like mega viral. I've started to reason about it like in over time, YouTube will become more competitive, and there's so much content being produced that when you open up YouTube, if you ask yourself this question, which would you rather see? Would you rather see every single video on your home feed is people who upload one time per year? So every video there, it's the best cut, best produced video, and every single creator literally spent the entire last year making that video? Or would you rather see the homepages full of people like posting low effort, fast, they're making like 5 videos a day, and they're recording and they're like, oh wait, sorry, someone's coming to the door right now, I'll be back in a second. And then they just keep the camera rolling. So you're sitting there for like 30 seconds waiting. You're watching a video waiting for someone to like come back into frame. I've seen people upload videos like that. You were in 2024 from Super Chat? Yeah, I did in one live. I did. All right, I think I can't remember what I got up to in that one. Robert's right. I think my favorite channels are usually 1 per month bangers. Yeah, I mean, if you don't output a lot, I think it will still be difficult. Like it sucks if you spend a lot of time making a video and then it just like it gets like 1,000 views and you get nothing out of it. I puts a lot. I put a lot of effort. Should I stream? I think it depends like how many views do you get on a video. You could, but it'll probably be some fraction of, like if you're getting, 1,000 views per video, then you might get like several, like probably five people concurrently. Streaming, I think, it can also inform you about your content. So it's also a chance to like chat with people and see like what type of person are you attracting to your channel. Not compromising on quality is a good idea. The most extreme example of this is Internet Historian, who uploads rarely. When he does it, it doesn't miss. Yeah, I think like you can blame stuff on the algorithm, but it's also like you also have to realize like the YouTube algorithm may decide to not really recommend a good video, but if the YouTube algorithm does decide to recommend a bad video, then like the first people will forgive you maybe one time, but when they see you post like 2 videos and they're just like crap quality, they're like, you know what, I'm gonna stop clicking on this person's videos. Screen is filthy. Yeah, so it's like you need to step up the production value. People will freeze frame and scrutinize everything you upload. well, I'll probably call it a night there. I made a little bit of progress in refactoring. Identified there's some kind of bug going on here. I'll reduce this test case further. But otherwise, we'll call it an evening, and we'll be back tomorrow for day 111. All right, talk to you later.